Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute pendant. I'll put a list of everything that you're going to need in the description below. So let's get started. Shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. Really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate all your love and support. And if you would like to come and support me, jump over onto Patreon. There's lots of different tiers that you can choose on, or you get different benefits. So nip on over and check it out. And thanks to everybody for everything that you do. I really appreciate you guys, and I really couldn't do this without you. To make this pendant, you'll need 0.8mm wire, which is 20 gauge, and I've cut 4 lengths at 10 inches, which is 26 centimetres. I'm using square wire today. I've got 0.25mm weaving wire, which is 30 gauge, and I've wound some onto my bobbin. I'll put on the screen how long it is because I'll measure it at the end. So this is wound onto my Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. You wind your wire in there, and then that sits down by your side as you're working. It just makes it easier when working with the longer lengths. That's 25mm unweighted. I've got a teardrop stone today, if I can pick it up. So my stone is 35 by 18. That's another Castan's stone. This one is firework obsidian. So tools, I've got my pliers, round nose pliers, cutters, nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just like having these handy, flattening the weaves and straightening the wires, compressing the weaves. All my tools are Tronex. My main pliers are needle nose. I'll put a list of everything in the description below. So let's get started. So cut your wires to the lengths that I have. Position your thumb centrally along those wires, and we'll start weaving just to the left of your thumb there. Take your weaving wire. We'll start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. I'm working with square wire today, and it does keep twisting a little bit, so you can flatten it with pliers just to get started. So we'll start with 2 wraps around the bottom 2 wires. Then we wrap twice around the bottom 3 wires. Come up between the bottom 2 wires, and we go 3 wraps around the top 3 wires. Then we go around the bottom 3 wires twice. Then we go 2 wraps around the bottom 2 wires. And then we finish that repeat with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. Push it together between repeats. I like to flatten mine with the nylon pliers. And that's our weave. So we're going to just keep repeating that. I'll just sketch that down so you can see it a bit better. Sometimes it's easier to see it drawn down. So we go 3 wraps around the bottom wire. So we go twice around the bottom 2 wires, twice around the bottom 3 wires, 3 times around the top 3 wires, twice around the bottom 3 wires, twice around the bottom 2, 3 wraps around that bottom wire, and that's our repeat. So I've done 4 repeats of that weave. We'll cut the weaving wire from both ends. Next we'll bend that wire, those wires. Quite like that weave. So we're bending it to go around the stone. So I'm just putting a scoop in the stone first, in the wires in the stone. You want to keep that weave pretty central, really. And bring the wires around the stone. If you do it in little movements, it's more likely to be how you want it to be. And then where the wires cross at the top there, we can bend them out. So we need to then bend the wires back out at the top. Because I want to add more weave just at the top here. So at the top on both sides, I'm going to add a few repeats of this cool weave. I like that. So part the wires, holding it there. Take your weaving wire, wrap 3 times around that bottom wire there at the back, pull it down to about there, maybe a little bit further, and then we'll do that weave that we did at the bottom. Do 2 repeats of that weave. So I've gone around 2 twice, I'll go around 3 twice, come up between the bottom 2, and I go around the top 3 wires 3 times, bottom 3 wires twice, bottom 2 wires twice. I wonder if we could just get away with having the 1 repeat there. So we wrap 3 times around that bottom wire. I think we could get away with just having the 1 repeat there. So we'll cut the wire. I think what I'm going to do is, instead of doing another repeat, I think I'm just going to wrap around that back wire a few more times. So it reaches up to the top so it doesn't move around. We'll cut that off there. Press down your little cut ends, and we'll do the same weave on the other side. So turn it over, holding the wires there, we're going to spread these out a bit. We'll start with 3 wraps around the top wire, because we're kind of doing that weave, well, we are doing it upside down now. Slide that down. It needs to be roughly the same place as that one. And then we'll go, because we're doing it upside down, twice around the top 2 wires, come up between the bottom 2, twice around the top 3, 3 times around the bottom 3 wires, come up between the bottom 2, twice around the top 3. These wires are lovely and shiny. Come up between the middle 2, wriggle all your weave together, twice around the top 2 wires, come up between the top 2, and we go about 6 wraps, was it? Six wraps around the top wire. Cut that weaving wire from the beginning. Make sure both those weaves are definitely the same height, and check that your stone still fits. So check your stone still fits in that shape nicely. You want your bottom weave to be nice and central. My weave doesn't seem to move much on square wire. It tends to just stay where I put it, which can be quite handy. I love that stone. So here where the wires join, we'll attach those together. So take your weaving wire, and we'll wrap around the whole thing. Don't let the wires cross over each other. You can spread them out a little more if you need to. And we'll wrap around the whole thing. Six times, sort of. And then go a few times around the back wire to hold it all together. Make sure your stone still fits in there, and to make it a little bit easier for ourselves, what we need to do now before we pop the stone in is just take this back wire, just make sure there's enough gap to get your pliers in there with the back wire, so we can get to it once we've got the stone in there. Trying not to use my nails. I should probably do that to the front wire too. We can do it without marking the wires too much. Just get a gap in there. Reposition your stone, turn it over, I do love that stone. And then we're going to grab the wire, so we're gripping that back wire. Get your pliers right in there around it. Holding the wire back, we're going to bend it in. Turn it around, holding your stone in still. We're going to grip the other wire at this side, this height. So we're gripping it more at the top here. And we're going to twist it and bring it over the stone. As I'm bringing it over, I'm holding it back there with my thumb, so it keeps the shape. I'm going to bring it over a little bit more, push it against the stone. So I'm going to do that on the front too. Grip the one side at the bottom. I'm not going to do such big bends on the front, I'm just going to do little ones. So I'm holding it back here, twisting it in a bit, just a bit. I might twist the next one in a little bit as well, if you can get in between those wires. Turn it around, Move towards the top here. Grip that wire, holding it again in place here. I'm going to bend it in just a little bit. Grip the next one, a little bit further down. Bend that one in, and then there we're going to push it back a little bit. So next we're looking at these wires at the top here. We're going to take the two front wires, and we're going to pull them out the way. Then we're going to take the two back wires and pull those down out the way too. So we've got 4 wires left, and we're going to weave a little bail. So we'll spread those wires out, put them wherever they want to, where they'll sit best. Sort of coming out into a V shape. So bring your weaving wire to the front there, because it's at the back at the minute. Bring it through the middle of those 2 wires, and wrap a couple of times around the inner wire just to get us in the right place. So we're going to weave across just the 4 middle wires. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go around the 2 wires. So we're looking at these 2 wires first. We go around the both of them, coming up in between. So we go over the other side, and we go over the inner wire and around it. Then we go around the 2 wires, and we go back around that inner wire. So we keep coming up in the middle in between the 2. Keep pushing it down. Then we do that little weave on this side. So we keep doing that little weave now. So you go around the inner wire, push it right the way down, come around that second wire. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go around the bottom 2. Then back around the second wire. So when you're weaving these 2 wires, you also keep coming up in the middle, and then we go over the opposite side. So you keep coming up in the middle and you keep going over the opposite 2 wires. So we go over that wire, the inner one, around the 2, keep coming back up in the middle and around the inner wire. Then we do it on the other side, come back up in the middle, we go around the inner wire, around the 2, keep coming back up in the middle, around the inner wire, push it down. And we keep repeating that. So you don't want these wires to come together. You want to have a nice open V shape in the middle there. So I've repeated that weave a bit further. Just going to do a small weave, a small bail on this one. So that is about 1 centimetre of weave, 1.5 if you measure down to where the wraps are, around the middle there. So next we're going to shape the wires. So holding that weave, we're just going to bring the wires in. So they just scoop it in. Try and get them to scoop in evenly. They are shiny wires. These wires are from, this square wire is from Rio. And then where the wires meet, take them back out. Part those wires so we can carry on weaving. So we just got a cute little weave on this one, little bail. So then you carry on weaving, and as you weave this time, you must make sure that you keep pushing it down, because as you go, that wire will keep trying to slide up. So keep pushing it down. Notice I'm holding it down on that side, and then when I weave that side, I'll hold this side down, and just keep pushing it down while you're holding the other side. And then hold that side down as you weave this side. So I've finished that little bail weave right up to the top there where the wires meet. I'm going to bend it forwards a little bit at the base, and then I'm going to scoop it over. If you've got bail pliers, it would be tidier. And at the back, I'm just going to bend the wires up a little bit so that when they come down, they meet at the back there. Cute little bail. And at the back where the wires meet, I'm then going to wrap this weaving wire around I'm going to leave out the outer wires so it'll be tidier. So as I take this wire around, I'm going to leave out the outer wire. Go across the back, leave out the outer wire, go around again, to going across the two middle wires and around the middle. I'll do that a few more times. And I'll finish with a few wraps around one of these back wires. Cut that off. Press that little cut end down. So I've brought those two middle wires up, and I'm going to twist this wire and this wire. So my wire is square, so with my nylon pliers, I'm going to take the end of this wire and I'm going to twist it. I'm pulling a little bit of tension on that wire so it twists nice and evenly. So I've twisted this wire and this wire. So I'm going to take these two wires now over to the left. I'm going to take this bare wire and I'm going to bring it around and across. Then I'm going to take my front twisted wire and I'm going to bring that across to follow. Then I'm going to bring this one across the front of those wires. If it was round wire, then I'd pop a bead on, but I don't have a bead that will fit onto square wire because it would have to be a bigger bead. I don't have one with the bigger hole. So going back to the first one, I'm going to scoop it in and I'm going to bring it around to a loop. The twisted one is going to follow like that, and then this one is going to scoop around, come under those two wires, I'm going to pull it around quite tightly, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to pull that loop up to sit inside that loop a little bit. I'm just pinching it a little bit tighter so it holds those wires. Next I'm going to take this back wire here from the bail, bring it across the front, and I'm going to take it behind all three wires, pulling on it so it comes across. So it's now gone straight across and behind all these. Move to this twisted wire, the last one that's sticking up, and I'm going to bend it directly down. I'm going to scoop it up. Bringing it across the front like that. And then this wire that came from the back is also going to come up next to it. So now we've got two wires coming up. This will look lovely when it's oxidised. The twisted wire is going to scoop over the bail, and the bare wire is going to follow it. So looking at the twisted wire first, I want it to look like that. So at that point there, it needs to go through the bail. So feed it through and then reshape that wire as it goes through to be like that. And as it goes through the bail, we can squeeze it a little bit, which is tighter through the bail, but the top wire isn't pinched against it. I want that just to be a little bit risen, so it's still got that flowy shape. The bare wire that's going next to it also needs to do the same. And then that's going to go through the bail too. So they've both gone around the bail, and then they're both going to come over the bail just a little bit. Curl the wire over rather than just press it over, and then it sort of puts that sharp end down out the way. Let's finish off these wires at the back. The one on the side, I'm going to curl up at the side. Make sure that curl is closed and push it against the side so it's out the way. The two at the back, I'm just going to curl around. To the sides. Make sure the curls are closed again. So now we've got these 3 wires on the front. So I'm going to pull this one around, and just so it scoops across the front a little bit, I'm sending it over the back. So that's my anchor one. This one, it's holding all those wires down, and then I'm going to go and anchor it down at the back so that wire's holding everything down for me. I'm going to go around this back wire here. Holding the front wire in place the best you can, because it's likely to move a little bit. Pull it around, and then we check the position of it. It's come back a little bit. I wanted it more over the front, so adjust that. Make sure the front is how you want it to be. A bit more, I want a bit more wire to the front there. So the front's how I want it. Then I need to finish off that curl. every time you tighten it, it's best to have a look, because every time you tighten a wire at the back, you can guarantee a wire at the front moves. So I've tightened it around there, and that is holding where I want it to. This next wire is going to come around a little bit further down, and that's also going to go over the back. So we can attach that around the same. And then this last wire, so we wrap that other one around the back there, and it's easy to wrap this one around, but I feel like I'm covering up too much stone. As much as I like that flow, I like the stone and I don't want it covered up. So I'm going to take this wire over instead in a small little loop over this side, over there, I've squeezed it a little bit tighter there so it grips around that curl more. That's Gracie doing all the snoring. I was going to take it straight over the back, but it wants to follow that one. And it needs to be higher up, so they've got equal spacing. And then that will go across the back too. Make sure when you tying around this back wire that you don't pull it over the side, because you'll see it from the front and you'll dislodge the stone if you pull this wire out. So you must make sure that your wire is in place and the ends are definitely pressed around. And if you've got a few wire marks on there, tool marks on the wires, you can always lift those with your nail buffer, or some bit of sandpaper, bit of fine sandpaper, just go over them. Start with the more coarse grade and then move to the, I'll start with the coarse grade and then I'll move to the lighter one, just to get those little marks off there. Those marks off, got a bit of a sparkle going on. That's why I love working with the bare wires, with the bare copper. If it's coated, you can't do this because you'll just rub all the coating off. And always keep a file for your copper so it can get filthy and it's fine. I always end up filing a bit somewhere. Quite fancy a bead there in the middle. I think that finishes it off quite nicely. So I've used a 3mm bead and I've put it on some weaving wire and I've pushed it round both sides of the woven bit of the bail there, pull it through, and I shall attach it somewhere. You can attach it anywhere you want, and then come back to the front and go back through the bead a few times and keep attaching it down so it really is attached down solid. I like that there, I think that's lovely. So I've added the bead. What I did was, in the end, I put 2 pieces of wire through the bead and then I've sent them all to the back and attached them onto different things. Attached them mostly around this hoop and around this one, and then I'm gonna cut all those extra wires off. I'll push all those down and cut all those wires off and press down all the cut ends. I tried having one longer piece of wire and taking it back through the bead, and it was such a nightmare. First of all, it broke a couple of times, and then trying to feed it back through and then get it back through the bead was a nightmare. So just put 2 through to start with, post them through to the back, and then tie them onto something. That's the easiest way. So I've cut all those ends off, and it's finished finally. I'll run and oxidise and I'll come back and show you. So there we have it, finished. I'm really pleased how it came out, and I've polished it all up. I hope you managed to follow this tutorial okay. I didn't cause too much confusion. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Bye.